Today we are going through 10 seriously disturbing facts about the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy that will make your skin crawl. Starting off at number 10. Bundy rescued a 3-year-old from drowning. One of the most prominent personality characteristics that Ted Bundy displayed was that he was friendly, helpful, and kind, which is why so many people could not believe that he was a cold-blooded killer. Not only did he save many of lives while working at a suicide prevention hotline, but he also rescued a 3-year-old from drowning. The life-saving event occurred in 1970s when the young child left his parents' side and fell into Seattle's Green Lake. Witnesses recalled Bundy immediately jumping into Green Lake to save the child from death. This would be around the time where either Bundy started his serial killing spree or just before. It's disturbing to think that a man who didn't care for human life saved a child from drowning, acting like a hero and a great Samaritan. No wonder why he got away with murder for as long as he did. Number 9. Bundy did not feel any guilt or remorse for his victims. And he only admitted this once he was convicted. The whole trial he insisted on his innocence, but it was all for show. Even shortly after he was arrested, he said to the officers, "I am the most cold-hearted son of a bee you will ever meet." Then even throughout his murder trials he sat there with a grin. And never admitted his guilt or apologized to the families. He truly did have a dark side. He even said guilt. It's this mechanism we use to control people. It's an illusion. It's a kind of social control mechanism, and it's very unhealthy. It does terrible things to the body. He also explained, "I don't feel guilty for anything. I feel sorry for people who feel guilt. What's one less person on the face of the earth anyway?" This just goes to show how he murdered so easily. Number 8. Bundy took Polaroid photos of his victims. Key pieces of evidence that Ted Bundy had in his utility closet in his apartment were Polaroid photos of his victims. He would undress his victims and take Polaroid photos of them, just so he could keep them, as a small memento. The authorities failed to get these pieces of evidence when he was arrested him. They even searched his house but couldn't locate the photos, to which Bundy burned after he was released. Number 7. No one knows exactly how many women Bundy has murdered. Bundy only confessed a number to the women that he sexually abused, tortured, and murdered before his execution in the electric chair. When he gave this number, he confessed was 30 women. However, professionals estimated that the number of women and young girls murdered by Bundy is likely to be over 100. The problem is because he never told one person everything and usually left many details out. Investigators couldn't find out the exact number. Plus, no one knows when Bundy started murdering people, and the question will probably always remain a mystery. Number 6. Bundy worked for the Seattle Crime Prevention Advisory Commission. Bundy states that this job gave him access to crime statistics, especially for the section he worked in, which was crimes against women, particularly sexual abuse. He would study the information and then give them advice on how they could work to prevent abuse. Through this work, Bundy noticed that police department didn't always know what to do, and realized someone who knew the way police worked could get away with these crimes. Perhaps this job was all a part of his plan, to help him to get away with murder. Number 5. Bundy had a deeply disturbing final request. Bundy had one last dying wish, that he wanted his cremated remains to be scattered in the Cascade Mountains of Washington state. The request was granted, however, it did come with a sinister twist. The Cascade Mountains is where Bundy dumped 4 of his known victims: Linda Ann Healy, Donna Gail Manson, Roberta Kathleen Parks, and Brenda Carroll Ball. He even admitted that it was because he had so many good times and happy memories there. I guess this was his favorite place. Number 4. Bundy had a fan club while on trial and in prison. Several criminals have a fan club once they become famous, and Ted Bundy was no exception. Even though Boone and Bundy remained married for the beginning of his final prison stay, women swarmed around everything Bundy. He had fans flocking to the courthouse, proclaiming his innocence, and he even received bags of fan mail, declarations of love, and photographs from fans. They would send him letters writing about how much they loved him and stood by him. Thousands of women around the United States called him hot and sexy. This is just another disturbing factor to how he could lure women so easily. Number 3. People celebrated after Ted Bundy died. While some people protested the execution of Ted Bundy, most people celebrated his death. The man of pure evil finally received his death sentence, and by 6 a.m. the morning of his execution, people buzzed to the fence of the Florida State Prison. That morning, a crowd of 500 people showed up around the time Bundy got his head shaved. Some people sold t-shirts about the event, while others created smoked Bundy burgers to sell. People chanted "Burn Bundy Burn" and set off fireworks. Students gathered holding banners that read, "Thank God it's Friday!" A Florida state trooper told a local news reporter, "I felt no compassion for Bundy whatsoever. He had an easier death than any of his victims." Number 2. 2 days before his execution date, Bundy confessed to his murders. Bundy confessed to many of his murders before he was executed, to which investigators they were able to confirm 30 murders he committed within 7 states, which included California, Washington, Florida, Idaho, Utah, Oregon, and Colorado, between the years 1973 to 1978. Bundy admitted to burying roughly 10 of these victims. He also admitted to decapitating the heads of 6 out of the 30 women. During this time, Bundy spoke about how he practiced necrophilia for the first time. There were many deeply disturbing things he confessed to days before his execution. Perhaps, he thought, if he confessed he wouldn't die. Number 1. Ted Bundy was studying law and even acted as his own defense lawyer during his murder trial. It is no surprise that Ted studied law, especially because he had an IQ of 136. He was quite smart, but a complete psychopath nevertheless. Whether or not being at law school was just his tactic of luring women to their death. But just imagine if Ted graduated as a lawyer and never got caught. Imagine if he continued on his murdering rampage as a practicing lawyer. That thought is just chilling. Even his last words that the judge said to him were,
"Take care of yourself, young man."
Thank you.
I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself. It's a tragedy for this court to see such a total waste, I think, of humanity that I've experienced in this court. You're a bright young man. You made a good lawyer. I'd love to have you practice in front of me, but you went another way, partner.
This just goes to show that someone you never thought could be capable of hurting someone could be a cold-blooded killer. Thanks for watching. Which fact did you find the most disturbing? If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you soon.